Dating seems to be something that everyone is doing. Some people are succeeding in dating and some people are really struggling. And the thing is, there are some of us who may be trying to date, but really aren't ready to. Because maybe we've just come out of something serious, or maybe we're using dating to mask something else that's going on, using it as a distraction, if you will. Well, before you start properly dating, I'm going to go through some things that you should know and that you should do before jumping into this crazy landscape. Before we get into that, I am having one-to-one sessions, so if you want to level up your love life today, then click that link below. First thing to do is to make yourself worthy. And I don't mean make yourself worthy for someone else. I mean make yourself worthy of the kind of relationship you want to have. Sometimes we can have the perfect idea of the kind of connection and relationship we want to build with someone. To be open, to be communicative, to be affectionate, to have the right priorities. But then we may not actually be fulfilling some of these areas ourselves. So then we attract people who are like us, who haven't grown in the areas that we're looking for. And because like attracts like, we run into the same problems that we've had before. So for example, if we want a relationship where it's open and communicative, yet we don't have the courage to openly communicate about ourselves, then we can't expect to have that with someone else. Once we build ourselves into the kind of person who is operating on a frequency to the standard of a relationship that we want, then we naturally attract the right partner to do that with. Because once we've developed those things in ourselves, we very quickly recognize the people who have it and the people who don't. Next thing is know how to be mentally ready. Starting to date again after a breakup or after a long period of being single can be nerve-wracking but also exciting. It's important to take the time to recognize that you are mentally and emotionally ready to accommodate for a relationship, if that's what you want. And I have a personal example myself. I don't mind sharing this. Last year, I lost someone who was very close to me. And I'll be honest, it took quite an emotional toll on me at the time. This isn't anything dating related, by the way. And even though at the time I was open to having something with someone, mentally, I wasn't actually ready for it. Imagine if my emotions were an ocean, right? And because of what had just happened in my life, I had gone through the craziest, worst storm that maybe I'd ever been through. And then I got to a point where the ocean had calmed down, my emotions had calmed down, and it was chilled, it was calm, right? Now, for a lot of people, they'd be thinking, okay, well, you're ready for a relationship because the ocean is cool, right? It's calm. But because I'd only just got it to such a calm level after like a crazy storm, if you will, then I just didn't want to risk anything that was gonna invite a potential other storm. I didn't want to risk anything that could bring possible treacherous waters. And that's not saying that a relationship necessarily brings mayhem to an ocean, but the risk of that happening comes with the territory. So it wouldn't be right or fair for me to go to someone and put it on someone else and be like, hey, you can't ever do anything that's gonna risk rocking the boat and you have to completely accommodate my own emotional state. That's not fair on anyone. It's just not right to do that. So even though I was open to it, I wasn't actually mentally ready. Now, if you ever questioned whether you were ready or not, and this is something that I did too, here are some tips on how to prepare yourself mentally for dating again. Number one, do some self-reflection. Before you start dating again, take some time to reflect on yourself and your past relationships and your growth from those relationships. This will help you understand your needs better, but also help you recognize any patterns that you habitually fall into and help you better evaluate the kind of partner that you're looking for. 2, focus on self-care. Take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. We are all responsible for ourselves. Like where I was last year, it is not anyone's responsibility to make you okay but you. Make sure you get enough sleep, make sure you exercise regularly, and make sure you sleep well. Personally, I meditate and I train at the gym. That's what really helps me. That's my own self-care. A lot of people find journaling or writing a diary really helps release some stress and gives a clear mind. So increase your own self-awareness because as adults, we have to be our own parent. And the third tip is to manage your expectations. Be realistic about what you expect from dating. Recognize that not every day or every person you meet has the potential to go into a long-term relationship, and that's okay. It's important to stay open-minded, but more importantly, enjoy the process of getting to know people. Because even if it's someone that we end up having nothing with, we can learn a lot about ourselves just by meeting someone new, chatting with them, spending time with them, because a lot of the time, they reflect us. Additionally, taking time to reflect on past relationships and recognizing any of those patterns of ours, that can really help us understand why things ended. Even if a relationship ended where it was nothing that you did, how can we then handle that situation better moving forward? Or better yet, are there things we can recognize early on so we're not put in that situation again? This is all about having better understanding of yourself, because once you understand more about yourself and what you're looking for, what you put out, you will naturally attract. And last thing, which is probably the most important one before you do anything, is making sure that you have moved on from your ex. None of this is relevant if you haven't even moved on yet. And how you know if you've moved on is if you can think about your ex or think about what happened with your ex and you don't get upset, you don't get angry, you don't get annoyed, it doesn't emotionally trigger you, then you're ready. But if every time you think about it, you still get emotionally triggered to some degree, then you need to give yourself a little bit more time. If you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick.
Pow.